Some people felt that he was smiling Biden. The president sitting down with Donald Trump at the historic handshake wasn't the only headline. It was Biden's grin that captured attention on social media, leaving many folks to speculate, why was he so happy?
One final fuck you to the Democrats. One final fuck you to the party. All right, guys, I'll see you later. He won. Yeah, he fucking won. Biden voted Trump.
Vice President of targeted victory, Matt Gorman, former Clinton advisor.
I've got to say it, bro. People always say bald guys look like eggs. Look. I mean, it is what it is, right?
Brian's and gentlemen, good morning to both of you.
Man.
Let's get to it. Here we go. Some of the reaction online. Biden never looked happier. Joe Biden shares the same smile that most of America has right now. I don't. Matt, you see something there?
I have not seen him that happy since the last debate. I mean, I'm not even trolling. I mean, what if you're Kamala Harris?
I love how I'm not even trolling is on Fox News and it's just normal now. That's amazing.
What are you thinking right now? I mean,
Yeah.
They were saying he's a fascist, Trump's a threat to democracy, this and that. And yet, do you smile that happily when you're next to someone who you think, ostensibly is evil? It kind of shows everything they were saying was just kind of a lie. I mean, it was incredible. I have not seen Biden that happy in a long, long time.
Philippe, what you see?
Matt, I love you, but I just don't think that's the case. I mean, Donald Trump also has some nasty things about Joe Biden, and he kept that to himself. Look,
is it really that crazy to imagine that two adults that, like, let's be honest, both of these guys are professional shit talkers, and they've been doing it for the better part of a century. They understand the game. Like, this isn't like, what are you talking about? Yeah, they're politicians. Of course, they're going to talk shit about each other. Like, if you go and you look at streams of me, and I see somebody that I don't like, I'm usually nice to them. It's fine. That's not a problem.
As I want to be, I liked seeing that. It is important. It's good that Joe Biden offered, which Donald Trump did not do in 2020. It's good that Donald Trump accepted. And it's not just a ritual. And I have to say, I think if it had been a couple hours later and the Matt Gaetz news had broken, I'm not sure the grin would have been as wide. But they both said the right things. What they next
I think it would have. Biden was the president of the United States. He was the vice president of the United States. He has a 40-year history of being a public servant. He's retiring as a rich guy, and he gets to spend the rest of his life on beaches with his family doing whatever the fuck he wants. I feel like he's... Again, it's like the last week of school and you're a senior. You know you're going to graduate. Everything's fine. He's not stressed out at all. Yeah, he won.
I think they met for 2 hours, and that's the really important part. And the one thing I would say is I hope that the president-elect took to heart some of what Joe Biden said, even if he disagrees with it. Because if you remember, President Obama told President-elect Trump to watch out for Mike Flynn. And it turned out that Mike Flynn was fired 23 days after the election started and ended up, being found guilty and needing a pardon. So it's actual work
I remember him.
that's getting done. As far as the
He's a QAnon guy.
I'm glad that they both could put it aside and say the right words.
It is really funny that they were so happy to see. I do think that this is probably one of the funniest things to happen. And my favorite, of the memes here is that Biden voted for Trump. I think it's so fucking funny.
Really am.
Okay, gentlemen, one other thing. There was a question about why she wouldn't do the Rogan interview. And a lot of things went back and forth. And apparently Rogan wanted her in Texas, and they said, let's do it for an hour. Well, he finally answered it. Let's go ahead and play the clip from his explanation.
I don't know if I've seen this part.
They had, I don't know how many conversations with my folks Right.
but multiple conversations, giving different dates, different times, different this, different that. And we knew that she was going to be in Texas. So I said, open invitation. I think they had requirements on things that she didn't want to talk about. She didn't want to talk about marijuana legalization, which I thought was hilarious.
She didn't want to talk about that because of the time that Tulsi Gabbard brought that up in the debate that made her look like a retard. That's the reason why she didn't want to talk about it. Yep.
Hilarious.
Why?
Like, that's so, because of her prosecuting record, and
He knows. He knows.
she put a lot of people in jail for weed.
You had that, and you had this
Yeah.
from one of the spokesmen. There was a backlash with some of our progressive staff that didn't want her to be on it, and how there would be backlash.
I hope they're happy. Hey, they got what they wanted. How about that?
I guess there's truth in there somewhere, gentlemen. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's malpractice, right? You're worried about your staff's feelings and not, getting in front of tens of millions of voters more than
It's
watching
fucking ridiculous. Yeah, he's right.
the evening news even. And look, Rogan is a symptom of a larger cause, right? I don't think doing Rogan would suddenly win her the election, but it spoke to a mindset of playing it safe, of keeping her from a lot of interviews for most of the campaign, of not taking risks, of not saying, hey, let's figure out 3 things where we can separate ourselves from the historically unpopular president in our party, of, hey, let's cater to this interest identity group and that interest identity group instead of trying to win voters and build the broadest tent possible. Look, Rogan in itself didn't lose the election, but it was a mindset that informed all of that.
It does definitely glaze Joe Rogan so much that people are discussing whether going on his podcast or not was even a factor for winning the national election. This elevated him so much. It was massive.
My feeling, Philippe, is that anytime you put conditions on an interview,
all right,
it's probably either not going to happen or it's not going to go well. And I think this other comment about progressive staff members being concerned about it,
stupid.
There might be some truth in that. About the infight.
That's so fucking that's what's so crazy to me about this is that the level of selfishness that some people like that have, the fact that they're going to put their feelings and their own personal desires. Do you want to win the election or do you want likes on Twitter? What do you want to do? I wonder. Would you ever go on Joe Rogan podcast? Guys, I'm not that important, okay? The guy has on Elon Musk and Donald Trump and all these people. I'm not, okay?
Well, Bill, you just teed up
confirmed. He's going. I'm not.
You just teed up a softball right down the middle. I mean, President Trump gave preconditions to the interview with National Association of Black Journalists. He didn't want to be fact-checked, and he did the same thing in terms of trying to work the refs, which he's very good at, on the debates. But I'll say this. Look, I think the most important thing about this is that Rogan said that she said okay. So, look, I don't have any inside information here. I would say that the idea that she didn't go into I won't say the lion's den, but the fox's den is a little crazy because she sat with your colleague Brett Baer, which is more than President Trump did the other way around. And I think
that they don't want to legitimize alternative media. That's really what they're worried about. And I think that the establishment doesn't want to legitimize things like podcasts and streams. And that's really where it's coming from. And you see this happen a lot, PewDiePie effect. Yeah, it happens to PewDiePie. It happens to, I think it happens to a lot of people. It happens to Mr. Beast. It clearly didn't work. Yeah, exactly. Because they don't control it. Exactly. Well, that's the reason why. They want to delegitimize it because it's decentralized and they don't have control over it. That's absolutely what's happening. Rogan's number one rule is that his interests level. He'd be interest for sure. Well, I don't know. But I'm just saying in general.
I don't know whether or not the left or the progressives did or didn't. I am certainly not going to defend anyone on the inside who might have said that's too something.
That's
the one
so
thing I will
stupid.
say is that I am sure there was discomfort with some of the people that he has had on his show, including Alex Jones, in terms of not pushing back hard enough.
Yeah.
No, there's not. There's no discomfort about that. There's just a few retards that are mad on the internet for no reason. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's really about it. You guys are starting? Yeah, I mean, it's just nobody actually thinks that his fan base loves Alex Jones. Like, Alex Jones is his close friend. Yeah, like, what are we talking about? Joe said that they wanted to edit and travel somewhere else to do the interview. Would you go on InfoWars? Would I go on InfoWars? Probably, yeah. Like, I would go on any show, basically. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of, like, what show would I not go on? I would go on The View. Sure, I would. Absolutely. Yeah. Talk Tua? I wouldn't want to have to go over there, right? It's like the problem is the reason I said InfoWars is because InfoWars is in Austin. So it's like, okay, well, this is like realistic for me to go there. Like, if I could magically teleport to any area, well, let me finish the video first, and then we talk about it.
So, I don't think it's that simple.
I would just offer, I think, in the end of it, a little difference because of what we saw in the electoral vote.
What is this here? Only one.
Pushing back hard enough.
Oh, Alex
So,
Jones.
I don't think it's that simple.
I would just offer, I think
It is that simple. Nobody gives a fuck about that. All the people that were complaining about Alex Jones being on Joe Rogan were a bunch of hysterical musicians that were mad at Spotify, and then nothing ever happened.
A little difference because of what we saw in the electoral vote. So, Philippe, thank you. Matt, thanks. Gentlemen, we'll talk again soon. Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
They shouldn't do this, by the way. Who's ever editing and running the Fox News YouTube channel is really doing kind of a disservice. So what I think they need to do is they need to put like in video, like a thing where it shows like to click the subscribe button or click the thumbs up button about like 1 minute into the video. Like, that's what they really need to do more of, where it's like, or at the point where you have the highest audience retention that you can detect, then you put it in there. Like, it's optimized. Yeah, I think that they're doing a very bad job of it. And they're still using like an old, antiquated, traditional media approach to doing new media. Legacy media is horrible at YouTube. I think they're getting better, but there's still a lot of problems that they have. Absolutely.